there it is in the chat. The email to drop me a message. But editing. I talk about the importance of editors and having good editors all the time. But I'll just say one more thing for it. I watched a movie recently, uh, Rio Lobo. It's a John Wayne film. I think it was like 1970, maybe. And it's one of Howard Hawks' last films. I think it was his last Western. And Howard Hawks, one of my favorite directors ever. He's just so prolific, so great. I mean, Howard Hawks was so versatile too. I mean, he did the original The Thing, so he's got horror under his belt. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, musicals, screwball comedy with Bringing Up Baby, uh, film noir, detective stuff with The Big Sleep. Of course, he did a lot of great westerns, Red River, Rio Bravo, Rio Lobo. He did another one with Robert Mitchum and John Wayne that I'm blanking on right now. But just a really prolific and very versatile storyteller. And the cool thing about Howard Hawks' movies is that even if the script or even if the plot was a little subpar in this way or that way, for example, like Big Sleep, they made some changes in the movie from the book, which I think maybe they were kind of mandated from the studio or censors or whatever. You can get into it, which just made the movie not quite as cool of a plot as the book. But it doesn't matter. Even if the plot, I mean, all of his plots are good. But even if the plot wasn't as great as it could be or something like that, you still loved it because Howard Hawks has this charm in his films. He knows how to direct characters. He knows really how to work with actors and pull the good characters out of them. And it's just great. He does that all the time. So I was watching Rio Lobo because it's one film that I hadn't seen of his. Again, I think the last Western he ever did. He was older at that point. And it's a fun watch. It's a great watch. If you like Howard Hawks, if you like John Wayne Westerns, really great. But there are some issues with it. The lead actress, Jennifer O'Neill, I think her name is, just isn't quite up to snuff with the legends that she's playing around, Jack Elam, John Wayne, and so forth. Plus, Howard Hawks likes one of his tropes of his movies. He's an auteur. One of the things you can look for in a lot of Howard Hawks films is a quirky, strong female character. You saw this Angie Dickinson's character in Rio Bravo, Katharine Hepburn in Bringing Up Baby, Marilyn Monroe, Kate Russell in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Lauren Bacall in The Big Sleep. But and those characters are great. They're funny, they're fun. They tend to kind of push along the main character, our hero. Not in a maybe they irritate him a little bit, but it's in a way that you get some good friction, you get some good back and forth. But Jennifer O'Neill's character in Rio Lobo was just too much. Just took that too much. She's not quite a Mary Sue or anything, but she's like uncomfortably close to that level. And you can tell what happened was this is a legendary filmmaker, storyteller, Howard Hawks, making one of his last movies. At that point, he's Howard Hawks. Nobody's going to tell him to tone down the script or to do this or that differently. The studio, whatever. But, he's Howard Hawks, so you can't really edit him anymore. And as a result, I think we had a character in that movie, as fun as that movie is, and as much as I love that movie, we had a character who was a little out of control, I think, just in some areas. A little grating in some areas, whereas usually his female characters aren't that. And that's it's a little thing, but it got me thinking of a point that I've probably made before at some point in the years of my YouTube channel, that no matter how good you think you are as a writer, or how good you think your manuscript is, however many, whatever, you need an editor. Especially if you think you don't need one. That's all the more reason that you need one. Everybody needs an editor. Editors need editors. I certainly would never send off anything of mine to be read by the masses before I had a professional editor look at it. And it's, think about J.K. Rowling, the Harry Potter books. The later the books in the series, the less well written they were. And her prose style, she's not some great prose stylist anyway. But I think around the third book or whatever, suddenly it's just like she's the great J.K. Rowling. She's of Harry Potter fame at that point. So the editors really couldn't tell her anything, and suddenly her books are just packed with a lot more stuff, and they're getting so much longer, and so many things they don't need, and some things maybe you should take this off a little bit here, there, whatever. And that's a problem. So on the one hand, thinking about, let's say you were a successful writer and you made it all the way there, never get too big for your britches there. But believe it or not, I know a lot of writers on the ground floor of their, writing career here, whether it's going to take off monetarily or not. And they just think that no, I know what's best. I know what's best. And even writers sometimes who have hired me for manuscripts will argue with me about things. And of course, any changes to be made is ultimately the writer's decision. I'm just an editor giving you ideas, but you want to give assent to someone's experience, in general anyway. So yeah, anyway, just the importance of editors. They're necessary. And if you'd like me to edit your work, put the email in the chat there. Just drop me a line, but do it soon because I might not have as much time later as I do now. if my new tutoring position goes through as well on top of what I'm doing now. Studio Super said, to all watching, I recommend Prof for editing. Good to get fresh eyes on your story, and he will make sure characters behave consistently with character archetypes and behaviors. Prof has that down to a T. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's fun editing fiction for me. That's the thing that that I was really trained for the most, or that I was the most eager to learn about. Fiction writing, how to write fiction, and by the process, the best way to learn how to write fiction is to learn how to critique fiction. So yeah, I do teach college composition writing, and I do which I love. But the funnest thing for me is to look at a fiction manuscript, whether it's a comic script or a prose piece or a film script or whatever, and talk about that. That's the best for me. The prose, nature of it too, getting tight, concise prose, and or prose that serves the story, and then the tension, the pacing, character development, as you said. Yeah, I love that stuff.